Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers, geezers, and film aficionados alike. It's time for another episode of Fast Food Films with our fast food film. Keith.
Yes.
This episode we'll be talking about the 1997 John Woo? John Woo. Yeah, it's John Woo. John Woo Face Off, starring John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. In order to foil a terrorist plot, an FBI agent undergoes facial transplant surgery and assumes the identity of a criminal mastermind who murdered his son. The plan turns sour when the criminal mastermind wakes up prematurely and seeks revenge. So the idea is that you cut someone's face off and you slap it on, and somehow they made it work. But before then, I'd like to
cue the music. That really makes me hungry.
I was looking at it going, I want a burger. I need to turn the music down on that. So it's 2 notches too loud. Okay, so we've got John Woo. He did loads of Hard Boiled and whatnot, and he does Face Off. So tell us about Face Off.
Well, I think this is the most batshit, insane, crazy film we've covered so far. It's mental. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's stupid. But it's fucking fantastic at the same time, and that's genuinely why I enjoyed this film. This wasn't one of yeah, I'm sorry, I've just seen Baxter's comment. Me too. It makes me feel bloody hungry every time I see it. But yeah, this film's just nuts. But as I said, it wasn't my suggestion. This is another one from your brothers, but I'm glad they suggested this one because it's mental.
As I come to the conclusion that I want to get Nicolas Cage actually on the live stream, because we've been talking about Nicolas Cage films.
It does seem to crop up in these fast foods a lot. Do you reckon, right? I reckon he's got it in his contract that he will only play characters with like amazing names. I mean, this one, we've commented about this before. Stanley Goodspeed, that's like a really cool name. And this film is no exception. Castor Troy. I mean,
Castor Troy's the bad guy. He's technically Sean Archer.
Yes.
I don't know. It's confusing. The one person's.
Yes. Well, that actually does cover one of the facts I found out about the film, which we'll come into later. But his character at the start of the film is Castor Troy, and you've got Castor Troy and Pollux Troy, which is, and I know they're from Greek mythology. We'll go over that in a sec, but it does sound a bit close to bollocks.
Oh, child!
It does. But anyway, I mean, I'd forgotten how this film starts, and it's pretty fucking brutal. I mean, you've got that typical thing that John Woo loves to do, where he goes into sort of slow motion, and you watch the bullet come out of the gun. But he basically kills Archer's kid right at the beginning, and it's pretty fucking brutal because there's Archer enjoying, John Travolta enjoying his day with his kid, and he's hugging his kid, and the poor bastard gets shot, and of course the bullet goes right through him and kills the kid. That's pretty fucking brutal. It certainly sort of set the start of the film, and then we switch to Nicolas Cage's character, Castor Troy, planting the bomb, and then randomly turning up in a choir, and then grabbing one of the choir girls' asses. I mean, you go from someone being shot to John Travolta to Nicolas Cage acting insane and grabbing a choir girl's bum, and you just buy it. You go with it. That's why I mean this film is mental. But so anyway, to cut a long story short, we have we cut to six. We cut to 6 years later, I think it is, John Travolta is totally focused and solely on capturing this guy, even though there's no way in hell in real life he would be on this case after this. But he's on the case and he's focused and he doesn't care about anything else but capturing this thing. And we have this scene where Nicolas Cage is trying to escape, and Travolta catches him in the end, and there's a mental action scene, including a helicopter basically attempting to keep the aircraft from taking off, and it succeeds. And then we have this big fucking action scene in the an aircraft hangar, and in the end, Travolta captures his man. And evidently, an exhaust fume from an aircraft won't burn you. It would, especially that close. But it did put him into a coma. And then we find out that he planted a bomb somewhere in LA. And this lady who turns up, who seems to play the same fucking role, and no matter what movie she's in, she's always that slightly, is she dodgy, is she not dodgy, sort of FBI, CIA spy woman. I mean, she was in Warehouse 13, wasn't she? She played she was the slightly
CCH Pounder.
Yeah, she plays
right. Hang on a second. She's Amanda Waller. Full stop.
Yes, she is.
She just plays Amanda Waller in fucking everything. And when they cast the Suicide Squad and she wasn't Amanda Waller, I was like, oh, that was an opportunity fucking missed.
She is. No, you're right. She's definitely Amanda Waller because she plays that same part. But anyway, then we get into the complete insanity of that. She goes, well, there might be a way to find out where this bomb is. And she takes us into this futuristic hospital place where they can literally cut people's faces off, grow ears. And it's interesting. You notice the method they were using to grow the ear. It was 3D printing before it was really even conceived. But they were effectively 3D printing the ear, which they've only kind of just done in very recent terms. In fact, they
didn't grab the back of a mouse and put cheese in it like a little kind of buffet thing for the other mice.
No, they were 3D printing the ear, which I found quite interesting. But again, I mean, the first face transplant was in 2012, I believe, quite a few years after this movie. But yeah, then you see lasers repairing cuts, like, instantaneously, like dermal regenerators from Star Trek. And anyway, again, sort of skipping forward a bit, John Travolta's character swaps his face with Nicolas Cage's character, who's in a coma, but you can't see what's coming next. And he goes off to this futuristic jail where they've got the entire floor is magnetized, and they've got these great big magnetic boots which all the prisoners are put in, and they somehow magically track these prisoners.
Hang on a second. Big metal boots in a prison.
Yes.
And
yes,
that sounds like Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Justice.
Actually, you may have seen those boots before. This is on my fact list, but I'll tell you now. Those metal boots were reused props. Do you want to know where they were from?
Where are they from?
A really, really, really bad movie. It was Mario Brothers in '93. The Goombas.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
But anyway, so Nicolas Cage is John Travolta's character now in the body of Nicolas Cage, who is now playing Sean Archer. So they're both playing two characters. It's kind of weird. So then Sean Archer in the face of, or the disguise of Nicolas Cage's character, goes into this jail to talk to the brother Pollux, Troy, and to try and get the location of the bomb. And he gets the location of the bomb by tricking the brother and convincing the brother it's really him. And afterwards he goes, "You're such a dumbass," and he disappears triumphantly. He knows where the bomb is, and he goes into this room hoping to meet his contacts, and it turns out to be Castor Troy wearing Sean Archer's face as Travolta, saying, "Ha ha ha, I woke up in the space of a day and got my face transplanted in the space of a day, and I burnt your three people in this really, really nasty way. No one else knows it. I am the only person, and we didn't see any of that coming. No. So then we go through some more sort of crazy prison scenes, and eventually, of course, Nick Cage is going to escape, and he hatches his daring plan just as he's about to have his brain zapped in some really sadistic prison guard's way. But they manage to escape, and the guy that he beat the shit out of at the beginning helps him because he goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't fuck your wife. Your wife's at home. She loves you very much." And that completely convinced the guy. I mean, there was no plot holes here or anything.
Okay.
But I don't care because it is fun. I'm taking the piss, but this is a fun movie. And so essentially they escape, but the other bloke gets it. Nicolas Cage somehow gets out. We don't know where this prison is. Turns out to be on an oil rig offshore, quite a way offshore, mind you. But, Nick Cage being Nick fucking Cage jumps into the sea and manages to swim the fucking 8-odd fucking miles back into the thing. Not that we watched that. And, of course, now, we come down to the sort of like final face-off, if you like. There's a few other things that happen, like the wife kind of discovers.
There's a lot of freaking stuff that happens.
Right, but it's minor.
Hold on a second. One of the scenes that sticks out to me is when Sean Archer's daughter is getting shit from some boy, and he turns around and he gives her a knife, and he says, and it's great because it's Chekhov's gun. He goes, "You pop it in," because he gives you any shit, you jab that in his thigh, and you turn it.
Yeah.
And I love that because he kind of had a paternal instinct there for a kid that wasn't his.
Well, he does, but at the first, when you see her lying on the bed, in her knickers, he's perving over her. There is that slightly dodgy scene where he's perving over her. I don't know how old she was when she was in this. It turns out, but she's quite young, and he's perving over, and then he gives her a cigarette. And of course, the wife, no one has a clue, by the way, that this is a completely different character, even though he goes from sort of hard-ass thing to insane overnight. Nobody questions this. Absolutely no one, including the wife. So, yes. But anyway, there's a few other scenes, like there's the bit where you find out that Castor also has a kid with this woman who, by the way, has a passionate kiss with her brother, and that was intentional to weird you out, because you remember towards the end of the movie where sort of Castor works out that Archer is hiding with the old gang mates. He convinces the FBI to go there and fucking shoot the shit out of everything, even though there's a kid there, and clearly you can see that there's a kid there. The FBI don't give a flying shit. They just fire fucking gazillions of bullets into this thing. There is a full-on bit where the sister and brother have a full-on passionate lovers kiss, which is just weird. But anyway, it turns out that Castor has a kid. But you don't see what's happening. Sean loses a kid. Castor has a kid. No, you can't guess what's going to happen. Anyway, brother gets killed, but sister escapes with the kid. Nicolas Cage is like Sean Archer goes off to meet the wife and convince the wife that it's him, and and eventually wins the wife over. But meanwhile, Castor Troy kills the FBI, or head of the FBI, and it sets us up for the final act, where we arrive in this church, and there's a funeral, and he's there, and of course Nicolas Cage is hiding in the background, and randomly, which I don't, what the fuck is it with the doves at this funeral?
Hang on a second. And the moment Mission Impossible 2, where he's in the thing, trying to get the thing, he got the doves.
What the fuck is it with the doves? This dove flying past. I can understand doves at weddings, but at a funeral? Shouldn't it be like crows going nevermore? Fucking dove. But anyway, apart from the random doves, once the body disappears, everybody works out that everybody knows who everybody is, and there's this like fucking face-off. And then there's a big shootout in the church. No doves get harmed in this scene. But the rest of the church is just fucking demolished. Everybody's shooting the shit out of each other in the church. I'm like, no, who cares? but not being convinced that, or not wanting to sort of underdo this. That's not the final act, no, because both our leading men escape from that, and we get into this massive fucking boat scene where, seriously, this thing doesn't translate to 4K or even HD very well, because the minute you start watching it in HD, blatantly obvious that it's not our lead actors in those boats, and there are so many scenes where the hair is completely different, especially the stunt double for Nicolas Cage, because by that point Nicolas Cage's hair was receding a bit. They even make a joke of it at the beginning where they cut the face and you see them trimming the hair back and everything, and they laser off the hair. But you have this, and it's an awesome boat scene, including the bit where one of the boats goes through the police boat, which is quite cool. And then of course, one boat's pretty fucked up, so we have that death-defying scene where I think it's Nick Cage jumps to the other boat, and then there's a punch out on there, and of course that boat crashes, and you see them flying through the air, and it's blatantly obvious again that it's two stuntmen.
Do you know
and
what?
Then they land. Yeah.
Do you know what? I miss John Woo.
Yes, it's awesome.
Describing films that I really enjoyed. I miss John Woo. Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry, Gloin just turned around and said that the director John Woo is known for using doves in his movies. So
okay.
Maybe he's a magician.
It's just a bit random. It's a bit random, but I love it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's brilliant. I'm doing this film an injustice. I'm taking the piss a bit, but I love this film. I mean, I watched it earlier today, and it was just 2 hours of perfect escapism. I fucking loved it. I had a lot of fun. And that's why we do this kind of thing. But anyway, to cut along, so we have that final punch out on the beach, and basically Nick Cage harpoons John Travolta's Castle Troy, and he dies. And then we get the really sort of lovey-dovey scene at the end where John Travolta comes back home because the family couldn't be asked to go and visit him in hospital or anything. No. So we have, and he just randomly turns up with the young child and goes, "Oh, we're adopting him." No discussion with the fucking family or anything. "Oh, it's all right if we just adopt this."
This one. Why this one?
And then the film ends. But I mean, the film is batshit crazy, but there are some genuine emotional moments here, and it is a hell of a lot of fun, and I really did enjoy it. This was one of the more enjoyable films because it's just crazy stupid action that only John Woo can pull off. And the thing is, the thing I like about this film knows what it is, and it fucking owns it. It really does own its batshit craziness.
That's good. Okay, we had some comments. Let's just go through some comments. So we'll start with Babster. Hello, Babster. Right, he says ace film. Yep, spot on with that. The intro is making him hungry. I want now to make burgers.
Me too.
And then it's like kind of Nicolas Cage needs to come back. Yeah, I think he does need to come back. But unfortunately, I don't think Hollywood's in a position to make the films that we like anymore, which is really sad. It really upsets me. And then we shouldn't talk of Mario Brothers, the movie, which I've just talked about. And Gloin said, "Hello, men. Thanks for the free content." Oh, cheers.
Hello, men. Men. Yes.
Glad you're referred to as men. Jason's watching, so hello, Jason.
Hiya, mate.
So yeah, I'm trying to remember because this film came out, cracking 97. So
yes,
God was a lot
basically
younger.
This film came out a month after Con Air, and they pretty much Cage went from Con Air and made this film straight away, almost immediately. I mean, the guy was working pretty hard in 97. And I mean, it's probably one of his most crazy performances. It certainly has one of his most hammed up bits. There are moments when he does the crazy face. When it's basically, there's a great bit when he's in the prison where it's Nick Cage as John Travolta trying to act like Nick Cage.
Yes.
And it's fantastically brilliant. And I mean, there are some genuinely brilliant cinematic moments in this, especially the bit, and this would have been awesome on the big screen. The bit where they are facing off each other behind the mirror. So this is the bit
Oh,
where
the
we've just had the FBI shootout in the gang's lair, and the two of them are standing sort of back to back on the mirror, and then they turn around and they're looking at each other's faces, which are their enemies, and they shoot them straight in the head. And of course, the bullets go through the mirror. But that's a brilliant scene, and it's brilliantly conceived, and it is quite a tense moment. But that is a pretty clever scene.
I remember that. That was used in all the trailers, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
that was literally the last shot. I did that, and then it comes up face off.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what the poster is based on. But it's a genius scene. And yeah, I mean, as I said, I love this movie. I mean, we'll go through some facts for it. So, it was obviously directed by John Woo, as you know. It had a budget of 80 million, but it grossed 246 million, which was back then was pretty bloody good for the time. But then you find out what other films were out that year: Jurassic Park, Lost World. You had Titanic, you had Con Air, and there was quite a few other films. So it was the 11th most highest grossing film of the year, but it was considered a massive success. So unlike what was it we covered the other day, Gone in 60 Seconds, which was a mild success, this thing was considered a huge success. I purposely haven't taken the piss out of John Travolta yet, but he is a bit of a dick. Likes them too, apparently, but yeah, I got that one in there. I wrote that joke earlier. He doesn't get massaged in this film. But there is a point where he makes a comment about his chin, and apparently he called both the writers in for a 4-hour meeting to discuss that scene. Whereas Cage initially didn't want to take on the role at all because he didn't want to play a bad guy, and then he discovered that for the most part of the film, once he got his head around it, that he was going to be playing the good guy. That he signed on. I think he only signed on because of the name. I seriously think he has it in his contract that he will only play characters with seriously fucking cool names. Because show me a film where he's just, playing John Smith or something. It's never that. It's always some fucking out there cool sounding name, isn't it? Nick Cage does not do a movie unless his character's name is really cool.
Okay. Damon Reeves, the janitor, Garage Rob, Hero. No, he's played some what do you call it? Minor sounding people. Noah Cross. Ooh.
Oh, come on, that's still a bit biblical there, Gareth. It's still a bit Noah.
Okay. Sergeant Jack Halcombe. That doesn't sound too thingy. Johnny Blaze from fucking Ghost Rider, which we won't talk about. Damon McReady from Kick-Ass. It's I'm trying to remember. I can't fucking remember the film. I just remember I remember the trailer. I remember watching the film, being impressed. I remember it being like blistering kind of action. But it's weird how it's kind of gone into the back of my memory, because you talk about Con Air, and we've talked about Stargate, and we talked about Independence Day, and we talked about Gone in 60. I memorized this. But this one is a weird one because it was good, but I'm having trouble memorizing.
Yeah. I had to watch it today because I didn't remember everything about it, but I'd forgotten how fun it was. It is a really fun movie. I mean, there are moments, because there is a bit where Cage wakes up without a face because they didn't bother to put Travolta's face on him, and when he sort of his henchmen bring in the doctor that did this thing. You do see a scene of this fag hanging out of this guy with no face in the reflection of the glasses. Now, apparently, John Woo had to remove all reflective surfaces from that movie because Cage couldn't take the bad effects. Cage doesn't like gore, apparently. So when he looked at himself in the mirror, he was physically sick. So they had to remove all like the mirrors and stuff, so Cage couldn't see himself in the makeup. Which was a random fact I found on the site, whether that's true or not, but it was on several sites. So, but this was also the first movie that John Woo was largely left to his own devices. That there wasn't much studio interference. In fact, there was studio interference in the ending originally, but it tested so poorly with the audiences that the original ending was then used. But the studio had to pay, and John Woo made them pay for it to bring all the actors back, because the original ending was kind of left a bit ambiguous as to which one of them survived, and the kid was forgotten. So Castor's kid was just forgotten. There was no, the kid was just like pushed to the slag heap, and the audiences were really, really angry about it. It's like, what happened to the kid? And really, we want to see Castor die. He deserves to die. He's a bit of a twat. And so the studios went, oh, and John Woo goes, well, this is how I wanted to end it. And they went, oh, okay, then. So they had to pay this money, and that, all the actors had to come back and do reshoots. So that ending that you see was not the original ending. Another fact about this is the script for this film was around since the really early 90s, but originally it was set 100 years in the future. It was meant to be futuristic because obviously we didn't have facelifting technology.
Fucking say it now, be cheaper. So production people said we can have a room full of laser beams where you can slice a man's face from his body with ease.
Well, originally, because when the script was written, it was Die Hard and Die Hard 2 had come out, and they were like the biggest action fucking movies out there, and every studio wanted a piece of that. And so this script was around, and it was in development hell for about 7 years. But originally, it was going to be set 100 years in the future, and it was going to be Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it was going to kind of be like.
And directed by John Woo.
Well, no, Woo wasn't initially lined up for it.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying those two and directed by John Woo.
That could have been interesting. That could have been interesting. But Woo wasn't interested in wanted to set it in contemporary times. And when he actually signed on to do it, they changed it. And it went through quite a few actors, including Michael Douglas, who is an executive producer on this, because he in the end didn't star in the film, but he is listed as an executive producer on this film. Michael Douglas. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and as I said, I
was going to say, got some bits here because Nigel's on the old Game Face Punch account. This film is quality. You need to watch it again. Yes, Nigel, you need to watch it again. But after we finish playing Wildlands, Crazy Eyes does need to come back. And then we've got Jason's hello, Big Keith. Now, just a quick one. There's a lot of people going around saying that they're Team Keith. Yeah. So it's like made some new friends on Instagram, chatting away to them. Oh, Team Keith, like that. Oh, fuck off. Monkey Boy does most of the work here. Team Keith.
Hey, you do most of the work for the podcast, but I do the work for this one.
So, yeah. And then my wife is like, I didn't realize you were doing this today. I think I said when I was going up, but she didn't listen to me. I take it.
Is she Team Keith?
No, she's not Team Keith.
Damn.
Team fucking Keith. Sorry. I think we've got two people on Instagram I was chatting to, and they're Team Keith.
I haven't seen this.
Oh, because you haven't got access to Instagram account. You haven't got access to Instagram account, have you? I don't know if you got access to the Twitter account either.
No, that's Nigel's job. He should plug the Twitter.
Well, he's doing Instagram and Twitter at the moment. So,
how many followers before we let him out the closet this time round? How many? This is 5 for those who are new to us. This is a long-running joke that I don't let Nigel out the closet because Nigel broadcasts literally from his bedroom closet, and which has really good audio in there.
Because not much reverb from clothing.
Yeah, clothing. It's just where should. Yeah.
All right, 263 on Instagram. It's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks old, though. I'll give you that.
That's not bad. That is not bad.
And we've got 1,122 on Twitter. So,
as I said, I mean, we were talking. Do I get a pen? How do I sign? Yes, you do.
No, Rapster. I just muted himself. He did this earlier. He's muted himself. I didn't do that because it's Narnia.
Yes, you get a pen.
You're paying for the pen.
Hey, when Nigel is involved, so it's not to fucking Narnia. It's some fucking crazy lad. Elfland, probably.
No.
Yes, you get a pen and a t-shirt.
Stop. Never team up with you ever again, Keith. Years of work on multiple channels and podcasts, and I'm the donkey that does most of the work, and they go Team Keith.
Dance, monkey, dance. I still have no clue what Team Keith is. Nigel, I'm surprised you have any clue.
It's Team Nigel. Anyway, we've got off topic.
Yes, we have. So I shall come back to the final few facts about the look of consternation on your face. Did you know that this film was nominated for an Oscar? Let's join Nigel. Sounds awesome.
Anyway, so back on track. Just put my foot down.
This film was nominated for an Oscar for best sound effects editing. It was only not an Oscar. No. Sound effects editing. That's what it got an Oscar known for. Did you know that? I think we mentioned this earlier, but the brothers Castor and Pollux, Troy, are references to Greek mythology. Apparently, they were the they are twins that were, but they transferred to Greek because they are the twins that were transformed by Zeus into the constellation Gemini.
I'm sure that Castor and Pollux are Roman and the Greek equivalent.
Yes, but isn't there Roman and Roman?
I know
they're
the same. I know they're kind of the same, but the naming bit is different. So Castor and Pollux are Roman.
Well, the fact that I found said it was Greek. And Troy is a reference to Troy, which were Trojan horse, all that bullshit, which was in Greece. That's why the surname is Troy.
But Castor
Troy is also a reference.
Though.
Yeah, but they were something to do with Troy. They were. I can't remember it, but I know they were. If you look up Castor and Pollux,
I'm looking them up now. Right, Castor and Pollux, or in Greek, Polydukes, twin half brothers, known together as Dakura.
How can you be twin half brother? That makes no sense, but okay.
No, twin half brothers. I think it's I meant like demigods, because Daddy Zeus or Jupiter couldn't keep his fucking winky in his trousers. So yes.
Face Off was also, did you know, the first Blu-ray to be released by Paramount Studios. It was the first movie to get released on Blu-ray by Paramount, because Paramount originally backed HD DVD. So, so when Face Off was their first Blu-ray release.
Yes.
And as I said, I think that almost covers all my facts about this. There weren't that many interesting sort of facts around this, except there is one interesting thing. September last year, there was an announcement.
Yes.
Getting a remake.
It's going to be two women, isn't it?
Well, it's been written by the guys behind Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which wasn't a completely terrible film. And I saw it in the cinema because of the way they behaved. So I supported that film. And I'm glad I did see it in the cinema. It wasn't an entirely bad film, but I don't know how you can remake this. This film only works because of who it was directed by and who they really cast in it. There's no pretense about this. It doesn't pretend to be anything else. It's a bit.
I'm trying to picture who'd do it and fuck it up royally.
You can't remake this film, and that's the thing, because I mean, it's funny. I was watching this film.
No. You can remake this film, but the trick is that you go with the original script and set in the future. That way, it's completely different.
Yeah, you could do.
That's the way you could remake it. Is to turn around and say, "Hey, the original premise was to have this set in the future. John Woo didn't want to set in the future, so we're going to go honor the original thing." Babster said he had his DVD copy was a flip disc. I rarely came across bloody flip discs.
I remember Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels was a flip disc. This was a flip disc because it came in the original sort of CD plastic cases before, but those hard shell cases. Because I had this one and Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrel, and they were in the thin CD style cases, but DVD case size, if you know what I mean. And then they made the switch to plastic cases. But when it first came out, it was a double-sided disc, as was my version of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I remember they were the only two that I had. But he's right. I remember that.
I had Lock, Stock on VHS.
I think I did initially, and then I got it on. Then I got it on DVD, and it was a flip because it had loads of extras on the other side. Lock, Stock, brilliant movie.
Hello, Malcolm, and as normal, Nigel's got a fucking clue what we're going on about.
Nice. You're just joining Team Keith, all right? Just go with it. Go with it.
Keith,
well, welcome to the free. Welcome to the free. Join my team.
Hang on a second. I'm gonna use a linguistic trap to get people to join my team, and it's team don't stamp on puppies. And if you clearly go for any other team, you want to stamp on puppies. What's that?
Malcolm, you can fucking talk. Mate, I never had that much on DVD. The internet existed by that point.
It was selling what do you call it? CDs of images to children at playgrounds.
But yes, it is. As I said, it is getting a remake. But as I said, I don't think it will work. I was watching this today, and I enjoyed it. But it reminded me recently of, and I know you're going to laugh at this, but it reminded me of Warrior Nun, because the thing that it has in common is because Warrior Nun knows what it is, and it owns it, and it's not shy about it. And this film is exactly the same thing. It knows that it's silly. It knows that it's stupid. It knows that it's batshit crazy. But it fucking owns it, and it does it well, and it's 2 hours of fun, and that's exactly what Warrior Nun was. That 10 hours, it was fun, and this is fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously, and this is why we do things like this, these fast food films. But watching this, I said Gone in 60 Seconds was probably the most fast food film. I take that back. This is the most fast food film that we've done so far, because it's just mental.
Right, I'd just like to point out, Keith, that we started off with Independence Day, and you described that as being the most fast food film ever. Yeah. And then I think we did The Rock, which you described as most fast food film ever. Yeah. Then you moved on to Con Air.
Yeah.
Well, that was. Hang on, you described that as the most fast food film ever. Stargate, which you didn't describe as most fast food film ever, which is a surprise.
No, it's not.
And then we got to this one, which is the most fast food film ever.
Because you've sort of taken me down this rabbit hole, and I think a couple of films ahead of okay, what films can we do? And then I haven't seen. I'm trying to choose films, not recent films, like films from the 90s and the sort of early 2000s, because they're films that and that's on the list. That is definitely on the list.
I'll be doing that one, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. This is for Malcolm. We won't eat any food until the action starts. And you'll remember that because it was like, do we start eating now? Because everyone's dying at Clandethu. Sorry.
That was on my list. But as we go down there, I watch this one and go, actually, this is more fast food film than the one. The Rock is a fantastic film, and I love The Rock. It's a great action film. But it's semi-serious, whereas this is just so mentally insane that it's not serious at all. And okay, you have that opening scene, which is pretty, but then it just goes crazy. Immediately after that, it just goes batshit crazy, and it just carries on getting more and more and more batshit crazy. And there are loads of plot area. We if we pay close attention, there's lots of plot holes in it. There's lots of sort of like, as I said, it doesn't translate to HD very well because the minute it does, you blatantly see that the stunt actors' faces quite a lot.
It's one of those things. Come on.
You forgive it. No, but you forgive it because it's a fun movie. The action scene on the boat, it's fantastic. It's John Woo at his best, and I love it.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up now. Yeah, I'll just go through a few comments and then we'll have your final statement, shall we say? No, Babster, I never had a Betamax. I'm old, but I'm not that old. And then it's what was it? That my wife has said, "Do we have to pick a team?" Yes, you have to pick a team. You have to pick a team. You're the only one that I actually.
That's a win. That's a win for me. She doesn't have to pick my team. The fact that she asked you that's a win for me.
Just remember, my team is don't stomp puppies. If you pick anyone else, you want to stomp a puppy. All right? Look at the cute little puppy. You don't want to stamp on that, do you?
I've already won.
Yes, Malcolm was definitely doing that. I think I might do that because Starship Troopers is a lot fucking deeper, like RoboCop is. RoboCop could
but see,
go on.
That's my issue because I thought about RoboCop, but RoboCop is a genius satire, and Starship Troopers is a satire.
You have to understand the following about RoboCop. RoboCop's the story of Jesus Christ, and it fucking is. It is. It's like, oh my god, it is.
But it's a satire with deep meaning, and Starship Troopers to a point is the same thing. So I don't know what film we're going to do next. I've got a couple of ideas. I'll discuss them with you off air, but. Starship Troopers was on there, but then again, it does have that RoboCop-esque.
It is layered. It's very layered.
Yes,
there is so much to it. It's like, that's a difficult one. Same with RoboCop is a difficult one, and even anyway. Final statement. Oh, hang on, no, hang on. Nige, apparently. Clearly, he was listening, paying attention, and not setting up his bloody PS2 and his Xbox original. He's got his thing working, so he can stream on that now, and he seems very happy. Nige, one piece of advice for you: you got an N64, fucking stream GoldenEye because you're the only. You call yourself a gamer, but until very recently, you'd never played GoldenEye. You have to stream the shit out of that. He hadn't even played Donkey Kong Country.
GoldenEye.
And he's been playing Zelda with Dave yelling at him. Go left! Yeah.
Try Zelda on the Switch, by God. That's a big game. Yes, I know you've got it, Nigel. You need to stream it.
You need to play it, more importantly.
Play it.
Streaming it, just play it.
Oh God, I love that game. Even to this day, I love that game. Basically, if you've never seen this film, why go and watch it right now? Even though we probably spoiled the shit out of it, even though we have, you'll have a lot of fun. Nick Cage at his almost most batshit craziness, and John Travolta being pretty batshit crazy and not getting a massage anywhere in this film. And with that,
I'm gonna press.
I will leave it there. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye. And just remember, if you're Team Keith, you're up for stumping on puppy.